Check your quarters. Washington and state quarter dollars can be worth far more than 25 cents. Rare dates, mint errors, and special editions have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Your change could be hiding a real treasure. The U.S. Washington quarter has long been one of the most recognizable coins in American history, and while many people see it as nothing more than an everyday coin used for laundry machines, parking meters, or vending machines, there are some years when this seemingly ordinary coin turns into something extraordinary. The 1968 Washington quarter is one of those examples. While millions of these coins were struck and released into circulation, certain error varieties, special conditions, and high-grade survivors have transformed a coin worth just 25 cents into a valuable treasure that can sell for staggering amounts. In fact, collectors and auction records have shown that the right 1968 quarter can reach values between $58,000 and $134,000, which is absolutely astonishing considering its humble face value. To understand why the 1968 quarter has captured so much attention, we need to look at the historical context. The Washington quarter design was introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, replacing the standing Liberty quarter. John Flanagan's portrait of Washington on the obverse became a familiar symbol, and by 1968, this design had been in use for decades. But something significant had happened just a few years earlier. In 1965, the U.S. Mint stopped using silver in circulating quarters and shifted to a copper-nickel-clad composition. This change was made to combat rising silver prices, but it also made the mid to late 1960s quarters particularly interesting to collectors because transitional errors occurred during this shift. Some coins struck in 1968 carry mistakes or anomalies that place them among the most sought-after coins in the entire Washington quarter series. One of the standout features of 1968 was the reintroduction of mint marks on coins. From 1965 through 1967, no mint marks appeared on U.S. coins as part of a mint policy designed to discourage hoarding during the transition away from silver. But in 1968, mint marks returned, making this a landmark year for collectors. Quarters struck in Philadelphia carried no mint mark, while those from Denver carried a D, and those from San Francisco bore an S. The San Francisco Mint, however, was producing proof coins for collectors, and here lies one of the most famous rarities of the era, the 1968 S-No-S proof quarter. These coins were struck as proofs but accidentally left without the identifying mint mark. Very few were ever produced, and their rarity has made them immensely valuable. This no-S proof variety is one of the key reasons the 1968 quarter has been known to sell for tens of thousands of dollars, with the most pristine examples reaching prices up to $134,000. High-grade business strike coins from 1968 also carry impressive value. Most of the coins struck for circulation were used heavily, tossed into change, and worn down quickly. Finding a 1968 quarter that still looks as fresh as the day it was minted is incredibly challenging. Coins graded MS-67 or higher by professional grading services are exceedingly rare. When such coins make their way into auctions, they become the centerpiece of bidding wars, with collectors willing to pay extraordinary sums to add one of the finest known examples to their collections. The difference between a common 1968 quarter worth a quarter and one in near-perfect mint state worth over $58,000 is not something most casual coin holders think about, but for serious numismatists it is everything. The story of the 1968 quarter also reveals the fascinating world of minting errors. During the late 1960s, the U.S. Mint was producing coins in massive numbers to meet the needs of a growing economy, and with such high output, errors inevitably slipped through. Off-center strikes, double strikes, and die clashes have all been documented on 1968 quarters, and these error coins are extremely appealing to collectors. Each one is essentially unique, and the more dramatic the error, the higher the value. In some cases, such rare error quarters from 1968 have achieved valuations in the five-figure range, adding another layer of intrigue to this already fascinating year. Perhaps one of the most captivating aspects of the 1968 quarter is the accessibility of the story. These coins were minted in huge numbers, and many people alive today still remember using them in daily transactions. The idea that a coin from your pocket in 1968, or perhaps still tucked away in a family coin jar, could now be worth $58,000 to $134,000 creates an electrifying sense of possibility. Collectors often share stories of discovering unexpected rarities in proof sets or inherited coin collections. For example, someone who bought a proof set directly from the mint in 1968 and never opened it could potentially discover the rare Noes quarter decades later, turning a modest purchase into a life-changing find. Auction houses have played a major role in bringing attention to the 1968 quarter. When one of these rare coins comes up for sale, it tends to attract headlines, not just within the numismatic community but even in mainstream news. People are fascinated by the idea that a coin worth 25 cents could command six-figure prices. The publicity surrounding these sales only fuels more interest, with new collectors entering the hobby hoping to discover treasures of their own. And with every record-setting sale, the legend of the 1968 quarter grows. The artistry of the coin also deserves attention. Flanagan's portrait of Washington remains iconic, and the reverse design of the heraldic eagle clutching arrows and olive branches is a classic piece of American symbolism. By 1968, these designs had become deeply embedded in the national consciousness, representing not just currency but a piece of American identity. Collectors appreciate the historical continuity, knowing that while millions of people handled these coins without a second thought, a select few turned out to be exceptional rarities. The lesson of the 1968 quarter is that rarity can arise in unexpected ways. It's not just about age or low mintage. Sometimes it's about small mistakes, condition, or transitional quirks. The return of mint marks, the chance errors at the San Francisco Mint, the survival of high-grade examples. All of these factors combine to make 1968 one of the most fascinating years in the Washington Quarter series. It serves as a reminder that every coin has a story, and sometimes that story is worth a fortune. Collectors who pursue the 1968 quarter know they are chasing more than just metal. They are pursuing a piece of history, a chance to connect with a moment when the mint was transitioning between eras and when tiny oversights created treasures. They also know they are competing in a market where demand is fierce and values continue to climb. As long as the thrill of discovery and the passion for rarity endure, coins like the 1968 quarter will continue to inspire. The U.S. 1968 Washington quarter is a shining example of how something ordinary can become extraordinary. While millions circulate with little value, the rarest survivors, whether Noes-proof errors or mint-state gems, can reach breathtaking values of $58,000 to $134,000. These coins remind us to look closer at the change in our pockets and to appreciate the hidden stories within even the most familiar designs. For collectors, the 1968 quarter is not just a coin. It is a treasure, a mystery, and a testament to the enduring allure of numismatics. The 1992 quarter-dollar coin is one of those pieces of United States currency that most people have handled countless times without ever giving it a second thought. It's small, shiny when new, and often tossed into change jars, vending machines, or car cup holders without a second glance. But for coin collectors and sharp-eyed enthusiasts, the 1,992 quarter holds stories that transform this ordinary coin into something extraordinary. Some examples of this coin, especially rare error varieties and high-grade survivors, have commanded jaw-dropping prices, reaching anywhere from $44,000 to $122,000. This makes it a coin worth paying attention to, even if at first glance it seems as common as they come. The 1992 quarter features the long-running Washington quarter design, first introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington's 200th birthday. Sculpted by John Flanagan, it presents a powerful profile of Washington on the obverse, with inscriptions for liberty, "In God We Trust," and the date 1992. The reverse carries the traditional heraldic eagle with outstretched wings, clutching arrows and olive branches. By 1992, this design had been in circulation for 60 years, making it a deeply familiar part of American life. Yet within that year's mintage, rare varieties and minting mistakes transformed ordinary coins into highly prized treasures. To understand why the 1992 quarter can be so valuable, it's important to look at the production history. The U.S. Mint produced quarters in huge numbers during that year at both the Philadelphia and Denver facilities. Most of these coins were struck in copper-nickel-clad composition, which had been standard since the 1960s. They were made for circulation, not rarity, and millions entered everyday commerce. But mistakes during production and the survival of coins in near-perfect condition created exceptions that collectors now chase. One of the most famous error varieties, tied to the early 1990s quarters, is the 1992 close AM. Though best known among pennies, similar die varieties in the quarter series are highly collectible. These varieties often relate to spacing issues in the lettering or subtle doubling of details. Collectors who specialize in error coin search for doubling in Liberty, In God We Trust, or even the eagle's feathers, and when such features are clearly visible, the coin's value skyrockets. Off-center strikes are another captivating type of error. A 1992 quarter with its design shifted dramatically to one side, yet still showing the date, can bring in massive bids at auctions. The more unusual the misalignment, the more eye-catching and desirable the coin becomes. Double strikes, where the coin was struck twice, are also highly collectible, often creating a surreal, ghost-like duplication of Washington's face. But one of the most exciting possibilities lies in wrong planchet errors. Occasionally, a quarter is struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination, such as a nickel, dime, or even a foreign coin. These mistakes produce quarters that are smaller, lighter, or oddly colored, and when authenticated, they can fetch staggering sums. Coins like these show up rarely, often after years of being tucked away in someone's collection or pocket change, and they draw immense attention when offered to collectors. Condition is another powerful factor in determining value. Most quarters quickly develop scratches, wear, and dullness from daily use. But a 1992 quarter preserved in brilliant, uncirculated condition with its original mint luster intact can be worth far more than face value. Coins graded MS-68 or higher are so scarce that they become centerpiece items for serious collections. It is this level of preservation combined with rarity that has pushed values of certain 1992 quarters into the range of $44,000 to $122,000, a price tag that stuns anyone who once thought of them as mere pocket change. Stories from the auction world showcase just how thrilling these discoveries can be. In one memorable case, a collector who had inherited a small box of coins from his father found a 1992 quarter with a dramatic off-center strike. Unsure of its value, he sent it for grading and authentication. What returned was a confirmed mint error of exceptional quality. When the coin was offered at auction, bidding quickly surpassed expectations, climbing past $20,000, then $40,000, until the final hammer landed at a sum that exceeded $70,000. Another story tells of a pristine 1992 quarter that had never been touched by circulation. It had sat for decades in a protective holder, its surface gleaming as if it had just left the press. Graded at the highest levels, it became one of the finest known examples. Collectors battled fiercely for the chance to own it, driving the price far higher than predicted. In the end, the winning bidder paid over $90,000, a shocking figure for what, to the casual observer, looked like any other quarter. The historical backdrop adds even more fascination to this coin. By 1992, the Washington quarter design was nearing the end of its long run. Just a few years later, in 1999, the U.S. Mint launched the State Quarters program, replacing the Eagle reverse with designs celebrating each state. This shift makes the 1992 quarter one of the last in the long era of the original Eagle reverse, increasing its appeal to collectors who want a full representation of American coinage history. For everyday people, the lesson here is clear: coins that seem ordinary can sometimes be anything but. A quick glance might not reveal much, but a closer look could uncover subtle differences or error marks that mean the difference between 25 cents and tens of thousands of dollars. Collectors recommend checking the lettering, the spacing of design elements, and the surfaces for signs of doubling or unusual features. With the right eye, or sometimes just a bit of luck, one could uncover a coin worth a life-changing sum. The 1992 quarter dollar is a perfect example of how numismatics, the study and collection of coins, blends history, artistry, and chance. It embodies the unpredictability of the minting process, where tiny mistakes can become prized treasures. It represents the thrill of discovery, where a coin overlooked by millions might hold untold value. And it demonstrates the enduring fascination people have with money not just as currency but as a piece of culture and history. Whether sitting in a jar of loose change, hidden in a family heirloom collection, or waiting in an auction house, the 1992 quarter continues to capture attention. Collectors will always be drawn to its potential for rare errors, stunning condition, and historical significance. And for those lucky enough to uncover one of the exceptional examples, the reward can be staggering. From $44,000 to as much as $122,000, this humble quarter proves that sometimes the most ordinary-looking objects can hold the most extraordinary surprises. The 2004 Florida State Quarter is more than just pocket change. It's part of the widely celebrated 50 State Quarters program, a series that ran from 1999 to 2008 and brought new excitement to coin collecting across the United States. This program gave each state a chance to showcase its history, culture, and symbols on the reverse of the Washington Quarter. Florida, the 27th state admitted to the Union in 1845, was honored in 2004 with a design that captured the adventurous spirit and rich heritage of the Sunshine State. While millions of these coins were minted for circulation, some rare examples of the 2004 Florida State Quarter have stunned collectors by fetching between $40,000 and $104,000 at auctions. That staggering value for what most people see as everyday change has made this coin one of the most fascinating pieces in modern American numismatics. To understand what makes the 2004 Florida Quarter so special, let's start with its design. On the obverse side, the coin carries the familiar portrait of George Washington. Sculpted by John Flanagan in 1932, this profile of the nation's first president has appeared on the quarter for decades, serving as a familiar and respected symbol of American currency. Above Washington's head is the word liberty, while "In God We Trust" appears to the left, and the date 2004 rests below. This continuity connects the coin to a long tradition, but it is the reverse side that sets the Florida State Quarter apart. The reverse design highlights Florida's vibrant history and natural beauty. At the center of the coin is a Spanish galleon sailing near a sabal palm tree, the state tree of Florida. The galleon represents the early Spanish explorers who landed in Florida, beginning with Juan Ponce de Leon in 1513, who named the land La Florida, meaning land of flowers. Above the galleon, a space shuttle soars into the sky, a nod to the Kennedy Space Center and Florida's crucial role in the United States space program. The design beautifully merges Florida's past and present, acknowledging its history of exploration while celebrating its role in modern innovation. Along the top edge is the inscription Florida 1845, marking the year the state joined the Union, and at the bottom is the national motto E pluribus unum, Latin for out of many, one. When the Florida State Quarter was released in 2004, it immediately caught the attention of collectors. People across the country were saving quarters from their change to complete their state collections, and Florida's design, with its mix of history and modernity, stood out as one of the most striking. Millions were minted at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and proof versions were also struck at the San Francisco Mint. With so many coins produced, most Florida quarters are common and worth only face value today. But among those millions are rare treasures, error coins, high-grade mint state examples, and proofs with exceptional quality that elevate their worth dramatically. Some of these have reached prices between $40,000 and $104,000. Astonishing casual collectors and experts alike point one of the key factors driving value is condition. The grading scale for coins runs from 1 to 70, with 70 representing a flawless coin. While many Florida quarters entered circulation and show signs of wear, a few have survived in pristine condition, earning grades as high as MS 68 or MS 69. These near-perfect coins are exceptionally rare, as even small scratches or marks can reduce the grade. Collectors are willing to pay top dollar for such coins because they represent the very best preserved examples available. A Florida State Quarter graded at this high level could be the kind that brings in tens of thousands of dollars at auction. Errors are another source of immense value. The minting process involves striking blanks with great force, and mistakes can happen. Some 2004 Florida quarters have been discovered with dramatic off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing because the blank was not aligned correctly. Others have been found with double dies, where parts of the design appear doubled, most often visible in the lettering or numbers. These errors are immediately noticeable and highly sought after. In rare cases, a Florida quarter has been struck on the wrong planchet, such as a dime or foreign coin blank. These errors are extremely scarce and can catapult the value of a single quarter into that $40,000 to $104,000 range. Another interesting variety that can boost value is the clash die error. This occurs when the dies strike each other without a blank in between, transferring faint impressions of the opposite design onto the coin. These ghost-like images are rare and fascinating to collectors, making any Florida quarter with such an error significantly more valuable. Proof versions of the coin, especially those struck in silver, add another layer of collectability. Proof coins are struck multiple times with specially polished dies, giving them mirror-like surfaces and sharp details. The 2004 Florida proof quarters from the San Francisco Mint are beautiful examples of this craftsmanship. While many proof coins are affordable, the very highest grades, particularly those with deep cameo contrast, can command impressive prices. A flawless silver-proof Florida quarter could easily push into the tens of thousands of dollars if the right collectors are competing for it. Auction results over the years have proven just how much demand exists for these rare Florida quarters. Collectors are often willing to go far beyond what might seem reasonable to secure an extraordinary example for their collections. Stories circulate of common-looking quarters turning out to be rare error coins worth thousands. For collectors, the dream of discovering one of these rarities in a roll of coins from the bank or in pocket change keeps the excitement alive. That thrill is magnified when you know that some coins have sold for anywhere from $40,000 to $104,000, all while still carrying a face value of just 25 cents. Part of what makes the 2004 Florida State Quarter so engaging is the blend of history and modern relevance in its design. The Spanish galleon represents centuries-old voyages of discovery, while the space shuttle represents mankind's journey into space, much of which began on Florida's shores. Owning one of these coins in rare form is like holding both the past and the future of exploration in your hand. That symbolism alone makes it appealing, but combined with the possibility of extraordinary value, it becomes irresistible. Collectors often stress the importance of checking every coin carefully. A simple magnifying glass can reveal doubling in the inscriptions, while a close look at the rims might show signs of an off-center strike. Weighing the coin can expose a wrong planchet error, since it will not match the standard quarter weight. By learning these techniques, even beginners can improve their chances of spotting a valuable Florida quarter. The idea that such a discovery could lead to a coin worth between $40,000 and $104,000 makes the effort worthwhile. For many, coin collecting is not just about potential profit. It's about the stories coins tell. The Florida State Quarter tells the story of a state with deep roots in exploration and innovation, a place that has played a key role in shaping the nation. Whether it's the palm tree representing natural beauty, the galleon recalling the age of discovery, or the space shuttle symbolizing human achievement, the design resonates with history and ambition. That makes it a piece of art as much as currency. The 2004 Florida State Quarter has become one of those modern coins that captures the imagination. It's still common enough that anyone can find one in circulation, but rare enough in certain varieties to make searching exciting. The possibility that one of these coins, sitting unnoticed in someone's change jar, could be worth as much as $40,000 to $104,000 gives it a sense of mystery and thrill. It reminds us that extraordinary treasures often hide in plain sight, waiting to be discovered by those willing to look closely. So the next time you come across a Florida State Quarter, don't dismiss it as just another piece of loose change. Take a closer look at its details, its condition, and even its weight. That ordinary-looking coin might not be so ordinary after all. And who knows? It could be one of the rare and valuable examples that collectors dream about. A coin worth far more than its face value, carrying both history and hidden fortune in the palm of your hand.